Welcome back. We're being joined by Scott Eakin, the CTO and CFO of E2 Services. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'd love to know a little bit about your business, but please, layman's terms, for someone like me that might not be able to grasp it all.
Basically, one of our primary services that we provide is managing customers' technology.
Okay.
And what that is, what it comes down to is managing and taking care of, and to make it simple, like a car. It's sort of like taking car. We're the ones in charge of the oil change, making sure there's airs in the tires, making sure all that's taken care of. We do that for your technology. We make sure that it's running well, it's maintained well, there's no errors. That way we can, properly maintaining your car. It will last longer, it will perform better, and you won't have as many problems with it. So we take a purely proactive approach to maintaining your network so you have fewer problems with it. Of course, there's things that happen, potholes and such in the road. Same thing happens in technology. Things do happen that are unexpected, even though you maintain things well. So what we look to do is, when that happens, to be very reactive and be able to have staff. And basically, all of our staff is employed. We don't have any contractors, so that we can prioritize that and be able to react to those potholes and other things in your technology when it does happen.
Great. So just for clarification, I know it's not about taking care of the computer, but it's really about taking care of how the computers interact. Like you said, it's really taking care of the network, not a computer like maintenance.
Well, we do take care of the servers as a computer.
Okay.
Your file server, your things that authenticate you when you log on, those kinds of things. Or your mail server where your mail's stored. We take care of those as well.
Great.
The big thing in our business model we don't take care of is pretty much the desktops, the end user devices. We really don't deal with those. We deal with pretty much everything else, be it the network that ties the things together or the servers that provide the content to the desktops themselves.
Got it. Tell me a little bit about the MSP Alliance Managed Services accreditation.
The MSP Alliance is one of the two accrediting bodies in the United States, and what they do is they'll come out and audit us to make sure that our policies are best practices in the industry. They will come out and not only tell us what we have to have, we tell them what we are doing, and they come back out and audit us to prove that we are adhering to our own policies that we've stated and the best practices they provide for the industry.
Wonderful. I know we spoke recently, and you were telling me about your data center and how that works. Could you share a little bit about that?
Well, we basically have space in a larger data center. Savis is actually the carrier that we use. We have two data centers. One is in Elk Grove Village. One is in Seattle, Washington. Those data centers are Fort Knox. I mean, they require a tremendous amount of security to get into. They have physical security, logical security, full video surveillance. And that's basically where we house all of our customer systems, all of our customer data, anything like that. And we can replicate between the two data centers for disaster recovery. One of our customers needed to be outside the central grid of the United States, so we chose a Western orientation for our disaster recovery site.
Gotcha. Tell us a little bit about your cloud services.
Well, cloud services basically are based in those data centers. Cloud services are anything from compute resources. Basically, you just you have a need for a web server or something to host some kind of content. You can get that out of our data center. We both do what they call virtual machines, or we do email. We do various aspects within the cloud is basically anything in the internet. So as soon as you have a server or something in the internet, it's considered a cloud service. So that's basically, we have again, all that is housed on, enterprise class equipment within those data centers.
Fascinating. It really is. When you think about the mass, it kind of hurts your head a little bit.
Yes, it can, especially when you bang your head on it.
Tell me a little bit about your special services and projects.
Well, I mean, again, special services on networking infrastructure, organizations that we don't necessarily manage may need some wireless deployment. A lot of what our customer base is schools. So schools right now are very intent in wireless deployments. They do one-to-one initiatives where basically it's one device per student, and that's pretty, that's a lot of devices in a building, and all those need to be wireless. So wireless is one of our special projects that we do. If you needed email hosting, if you needed email servers, within your organization and the on-site stuff, you want to do virtualization. Virtualization is a huge thing right now. It's basically the whole green initiative of doing more with less. With less hardware, you can do more with it because it's more powerful. So that's basically the two major specialization projects we do right now is both wireless and virtualization.
Fascinating. What do you enjoy most about what you do when you're working with your clients?
The solution. Okay. Basically, it's all about the solution. Seeing it come together, seeing it, what came from here. Let's talk about what we're going to want to do, and here it is functioning. That whole path is what's really interesting to the whole thing. And again, it's seeing a job done well and functioning, and again, in many cases we are maintaining that after the fact, and seeing it progress and work for many years into the future. So I mean that is really the thing that gets keeps you coming back.
Right. Is there anything that you see in the future that we're not aware of? I'm sure in your industry things are ever changing, and
they did change a couple seconds ago. Well, of course, the big transformation is cloud services. Fewer and fewer things are happening on the desktops. The desktops are becoming dumber and dumber. They don't need to do as much. Sure, there's some special applications like CAD, graphic arts, some things that are still very difficult to do in the cloud. In some cases, they can be done. Sure. But they may require a tremendous amount of bandwidth, and other countries in some cases are further along in the bandwidth realm than we are. But we're getting there.
Great.
But real quick is but cloud services, basically the desktop's going to be used. You're going to be renting Word, renting Office suites, renting those functionalities from the cloud services instead of having them on your desktop.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back with Inside the Chamber.